Hello from the expansive studio here at the Illinois Center for Broadcasting located in Lombard, Illinois. My name is Michael Allen.
And I'm Gabriella Garcia, and not only do I help anchor the desk here for our YouTube channel, but I also write for CleatGeeks.com. Here's a sample of what you will find on CleatGeeks.com this week.
The Green Bay Packers lost Jordy Nelson to injury this week for the rest of the season. In football, we often hear the term, next man up, and this article looks at who that next man might be. In fact, there might even be a steal at wide receiver or tight end in your fantasy draft because of this unfortunate injury.
Being from Chicago and loving all Chicago sports, of course Michael Jordan is synonymous with Chicago sports. And to learn more about MJ, simply go to CleatGeeks.com and read the article 23 Facts You Might Not Know, Michael Jordan. The article looks at his time in high school in New York, college at North Carolina, and his pro days with the Bulls, Wizards, and White Sox.
Speaking of basketball, the NCAA rules men's and women's college athletics. But should they?
But most are given a free education.
But the NCAA makes money off of these kids hands over fist. Would it be so wrong for the kids to get a small percentage of that?
I understand your point, and it is valid, but you are also opening a proverbial Pandora's box if you allow this.
You can read more about this subject and even comment on it by going to CleatGeeks.com, then going to Court Geeks and College Basketball to find the full article.
Keeping on the Cubs theme for a moment, the Cubs just made an August trade. They acquired Fernando Rodney from the Seattle Mariners to now shoot his arrows into the crowd at Wrigley Field. What will his role be? Will he fire arrows as the closer, as a setup man? Read the article Rodney's role to find out.
There has been a long debate between parents and their children as to should they play multiple sports and decide later which one they really love, or simply play one sport from the beginning and be the best they can be at that one sport. The article even has quotes from subjects from Alabama's head softball coach, Patrick Murphy, and the head pitching coach of the University of Georgia, Fred Corral. If you are a parent and you've ever wondered if you were doing the right thing by letting your child play multiple sports, or felt like a terrible parent for forcing your child to pick one sport and constantly work at it, you need to read the article Early Specialization versus Multiple Sports and see what the opinions of the experts are.
CleatGeeks.com has an article up that has a video of the 3 best catches so far in MLB. To see the 3 videos and give your opinion on which you think is best, go to our site, scroll over Field Geeks, then Baseball, then MLB, and there you will find the article Catches of the Year.
At CleatGeeks.com, we are very diverse in the sports we cover, and even though it is the off-season, we are still covering hockey. We are taking a look at every team and their outlook for the upcoming 2015-2016 season. This week we added the Florida Panthers, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Minnesota Wild to our list of teams we covered so far this offseason. To see if your NHL Ice Geek has covered your favorite team, go to our site, scroll over Rink Geek, and then go to Hockey and NHL.
I write a weekly column called Monday Morning QB, where every week I take you into the lives of every NFL quarterback, one signal caller at a time. Some of my stories are on the field and some are off the field, but each one gives you a different perspective on the men under center. We have some other articles that also focus on quarterbacks in the NFL section of our site. Scroll over Field Geeks, then football, then NFL to read articles about the new contract Phillip Rivers signed and how it will affect the Chargers going forward. We have an article on Matt Flynn and him signing with the New York Jets. We also have an article on how Eli Manning wants to be the highest paid player in the NFL and if he deserves that contract. And lastly, for you college football fans, we have an article under our college football section about Miami's quarterback and his sophomore year transition.
Did I ever mention we are diverse in the sports we cover? Because we also have a NASCAR writer at CleatGeeks.com. He takes a look at every race on every Saturday to get you ready for the green flag on Sunday. This week, as most of you know, is an off week for NASCAR, but not our NASCAR geek. He takes this week as an opportunity to look at a few of the drivers and how they will perform in the chase.
Now, for one of the articles I wrote exclusively for CleatGeeks.com, where I answer the question, do the Chicago Cubs have to make the postseason in order for the 2015 season to be considered a success?
Well, Gabriella, do they?
Realistically, when the season started, did you think the Cubs would make the playoffs?
No, honestly I didn't, because I personally think that the pieces of the puzzle weren't going to fit together for 2 years. I know Joe Madden, getting him in the offseason, John Lester, and now getting Fernando. everything's kind of coming together, but looking at the season as a whole, I wish I would have said yes.
I agree. I'm very happy with what they've done so far, and I never imagined it would be this successful. No matter the outcome, I'm just happy they brought baseball back to Chicago.
Exactly.
But in order to answer the question, you are going to have to go to CleatGeeks.com and find out. Then fans, you can interact with me and give your answers as well by commenting on the article at the bottom of the page. No registration and no fees, just great sports interaction.
We have weekly columns at CleatGeeks.com as well. We already mentioned one with Monday Morning Quarterback, and we also have one talking about soccer. That's correct. We are very diverse in the type of sports we cover. I feel like I've said that before, but I digress. We do this weekly column, 5 things we learned from the Premier League this week. Plus, we had a new weekly column debut this week about the WWE, as we continue our theme of being diverse in our coverage of sports. It is called If My Last Name Was McMahon. It takes you into the world of writing a wrestling script, where our writer actually writes out a rivalry like they do in wrestling. This week, our writer takes a script from today and writes it all the way to the conclusion at WrestleMania in Texas.
Recording artist Macklemore released his new music video for the song Downtown earlier this week. Macklemore is a big Seattle Mariner fan, and in this video he enlists the services of a Mariner icon in sweet swinging Ken Griffey Jr. to do a cameo in this video. There are some funny coincidences in the video involving the kid. You can read all about it and watch the complete video on CleatGeeks.com.
It's really nice to see when a star athlete shares his wealth or time with the community. Make-A-Wish Foundation has been granting wishes to sick and dying children for quite some time. No one athlete has granted over 300 wishes except one. In fact, no other star athlete has granted over 400 wishes for Make-A-Wish except one. And now one man can say he granted over 500 wishes when no other athlete in any other sport has granted 300 wishes. Who is that athlete? John Cena, and last weekend he granted his 500th wish while at the WWE SummerSlam. Take the time to read about this heartwarming story and the bond that has developed with John Cena and the 500 kids he has granted wishes for.
We talked earlier about the Cubs in the MLB postseason. If the season ended today, the Cubs would be in the postseason as the second wild card in the National League. But do you like the playoff system currently in place in the MLB? One of our baseball geeks would like to see the MLB make a couple minor changes that he thinks would make a major difference. You can read the interesting changes he proposes in Solving Baseball's Playoff Dilemma by going to Field Geeks, then Baseball, and finally MLB.
Speaking of baseball coverage at CleatGeeks.com, we have several recent stories on MLB. There is an article about the Giants pitcher who earlier threw a no-hitter who the Giants sent down to AAA. There is an article that discusses the realistic chances of teams still in the hunt to actually win the World Series in 2015. There is a story of Derek Holland and his fight back to the Texas Rangers rotation and what that means to the club. And lastly, there is an informative article that looks at the influx of youth in the game of baseball and what it means to the future of the game.
We appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule to watch us on the first episode of our YouTube Weekly Report. There are several ways you can experience being a Cleat Geek. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/CleatGeeks. We are on Twitter, where we just surpassed 3,000 followers at Cleat Geeks. We are also on Google+, Instagram. Simply type Cleat Geeks in the search box to join our many social media platforms. Plus, if you are interested in writing for Cleat Geeks, simply go to our website, scroll to the bottom, and click on Do You Have What It Takes to Be One of Our Geeks, and follow the instructions.
As we wrap up episode 1 of our show, we want to let you know that we realize that a ton of you fans will be joining some kind of fantasy football league between now and the first game of the regular season. Therefore, to provide you with all the information you need, we have declared Monday, August 31st through Sunday, September 6th, 1 week of wall-to-wall fantasy football. There will be several articles from several different writers from multiple perspectives to help you draft a winning fantasy football team. So check out CleatGeeks.com every day, all week long, to find tons of helpful information and to talk smack to all your friends.
I'm going to talk a little smack right now. Michael, you did all right, for the first episode and all. I'm going to talk a little smack right now. Michael, you did all right, for the first episode and all. But I'm Gabriela Garcia, putting my fingers on the laces and throwing a bomb like Andrew Luck.
And I'm Michael Allen, hitting one over the fences and flipping the bat.